So the review embargo for the PlayStation VR has been lifted, and so far there's been a slew of reviews posted as well as live streams going on where people can go see in real time how everything works outside a controlled environment. Because so far, most of the videos that you've seen have been in Sony conferences, in a booth where everything's absolutely perfect, all the right lighting, all the right setups, somebody holding your hand all the way through. But what happens whenever you put this out onto the open market? People have different lightings, different room setups, and so this is now the ultimate test how this thing is going to actually perform. So far, the reviews have been pretty mixed, and it's important to actually go read the reviews and not just look at a headline, not just look at a score, which is never going to tell you the full story. Some reviewers are praising the PlayStation VR for what it could be, talking about its potential in the long run, while others are actually reviewing the device based on what it is right now and the experience everybody is going to get at launch. So what I've done throughout the day, I've been reading lots of different reviews. I've been watching lots of different live streams. So I'm just going to kind of give you a synopsis of some of the more important traits that I think you should know about if you're going out and you're thinking about throwing down $400 or $500 on this device. So we'll start with the positive comments. First off, the one thing that almost everybody seems to universally agree upon is that Sony has managed to deliver the most comfortable headset currently on the market, which is pretty impressive because, the Vive, for instance, is like $800, but for half the price, Sony has designed this headset so that it's a lot more comfortable. They say that you can wear it for long, extended periods of time without it becoming an issue. So that's good for a lot of people wearing it on their heads. The other item that's almost universally praised is the price point of entry. Now, this is also debatable because if you've already got a PlayStation 4, then you're looking at $400 for just the headset or $500 for the bundle if you need the PlayStation camera as well as the Move controllers. But let's be real, that's still expensive. You could go buy a new console plus several new games for that price. But what they're saying is whenever you compare it to the other high-end VR headsets out there like the Oculus or the Vive, it's no doubt cheaper than those headsets plus a PC rig that'll run it. So it's a good entry level for virtual reality. But the price point is also going to be kind of what holds the PlayStation VR back. And it goes back to the old saying, you get what you pay for. And so one of the things that's been knocked, of course, is that the resolution is quite a bit lower than other headsets. In fact, Digital Foundry points out that Samsung's Gear VR that's meant for mobile phones is actually a higher resolution than the PlayStation VR. The PlayStation VR also has a more limited field of view. Now, what a lot of people are suggesting is that this may affect you depending on whether or not you're brand new to VR. So if you've never experienced those better headsets before, then it may not ever impact you. You may not notice how poor the resolution actually is. Now, if you have played some of those other headsets, then it may be a little bit more noticeable to you. Another thing people were complaining about is the setup, which is a forest of wires. But that's going to be one of those things that I think for most people isn't going to be an issue once you've done it. Like once you get past the initial setup, I doubt most people are going to be unhooking it, plugging it back in somewhere else, unless you're taking it to your neighbor's house or to your friends or whatever. Now, one of the biggest issues, and I think this is also the most concerning because it's such a huge part of virtual reality, is the tracking. And not everybody said that they had problems with it. Some people said it worked great, but there were enough sites, there were enough big-time reviewers saying that this was a problem where it has to be worrisome. You had multiple sites like Giant Bomb, Kotaku, Game Informer, Vice. They all said that the tracking was pretty awful. I was actually watching a Giant Bomb stream, and I'll link it down below so you can go watch it yourself, but they were, in the process between playing games, they were actually talking about their experience at home. And there were two guys. One said that he was using the new PlayStation 4 camera. Another guy said that he was using the old one, but both agreed that it was a complete nightmare at home and they could never get it to work perfectly. And they said that it was so bad that a lot of times they just stopped playing. They didn't even want to play the system because it was that bad.
At home, I have the old camera. and the tracking has been a real nightmare.
Yes.
It's been...
Intermittently, I would describe my experience with the tracking also as a nightmare.
It is PlayStation Move technology applied to something that is strapped to your face. Sometimes it's fine, sometimes it is way less than fine.
Yeah. There were 2 or 3 nights that I had this thing at home that I just turned it off because it was working so poorly that I was just like, this is not worth my time. Wow.
Yeah.
And then whenever they were in the studio today trying to live stream, again, tons of problems if you go watch that video. And you could tell that they were trying everything to get this to work right. They were adjusting how far they were from the camera. They were getting closer. They were trying to recalibrate their devices. They were adjusting the lighting. They turned off the lighting. Nothing seemed to work. And in fact, you would be calibrating the device, and almost every 10 minutes, it seemed like, it would just drift off from where you had calibrated it. And so they were having to, in-game, recalibrate their controllers almost every 10 minutes, it seemed, which would be a complete pain in the butt, I would imagine, if you owned this and you were at home trying to play and enjoy some of these games. Also, multiple sites mentioned jittering problems. If you watch a lot of these people playing the hands on screen, that's like you're in a Parkinson's disease simulator. Kotaku said that they saw jittering problems in every game that they played. And a lot of these people that were reviewing the PlayStation VR, they were VR veterans. So they weren't people who were just trying this out for the first time. These were people who have tried the Oculus, tried the VR on Vive for many, many hours, who own these devices, who love VR. And a lot of these people said that they had never been sick or experienced nauseousness in any other headset before, but they were getting motion sickness with the PlayStation VR. And again, there were enough people where it has to be worrisome for Sony, but again, it wasn't everybody. Not everybody said that they experienced that, but there were a lot of professionals who said that they had never done it before who were getting sick. One of the Giant Bomb stream guys actually almost got sick on camera today. But a lot of sites pointed out that they think that part of the problem is that they're trying to take 2 products which really didn't get a whole lot of support. They're taking the PlayStation camera, taking the Move controllers, and trying to make them work with this headset, which neither one were developed for this particular reason. And so the Move controllers are like 6 years old, and they make it easier and more immersive in some games, but they're also the items that a lot of people are saying is holding this back because they just don't track very well, and you can't always keep them calibrated with what's going on screen. You'll also never be able to turn around backwards to shoot enemies behind you, for instance, because the camera has to have its eyes on those lights at all times. So if it loses sight with that, say you turn to your side or turn to your back, it's going to lose contact with that, and then you're going to be jarred out of the experience because the game is going to be telling you, hey, we can't see what's going on with the controllers. So again, other people proclaim that their experience was absolutely fantastic. This was one of the greatest things ever, but a lot of sites, maybe they just all got bum units, but again, there were so many sites complaining about the same sort of issues. Again, it has to be worrisome. The other elephant in the room is the games. There's a decent amount if your biggest concern is just posting up list wars saying, hey, we got tons of games, But many of the more popular games are going to be short experiences, and there's no game that stands out that screams, this is a must-have game. This is something that you need to go spend $500 for in order to go play it. And that's according to pretty much practically every review that's been out there. They say there's just not, the big time games that a lot of people are going to be sitting down wanting to come back and play time and time again. So really, as it stands on launch day, it would appear that you could possibly be investing $500 into really a proof of concept. It's an expensive tech demo that could be something that turns into something great over time, or it could be like other hardware that Sony has manufactured that didn't get the support that it needed in the long run. I remember whenever Kinect first came out, it sold, of course, a boatload of units. It broke world records for sales, and yet, look at it now. I remember showing people who came over to the house, the Kinect. I would bring it out. Everybody thought that it was amazing for the first 15, 20 minutes. And then after a few hours that you've spent with this device, you're sitting there wondering, now what? Now what can I do with this? So VR has been out for 7 months now for the PC. Some people love it. Others decided that it wasn't for them. But I don't think we've seen this, mass push that says everybody has to have VR. I do not think this is the future of gaming. It could still be big, but I see this as a new direction for gaming, but I never see this overtaking the way that we currently play games. I see it could possibly be big, but it's never going to be the one and only future of gaming. And it seems like an awfully expensive gamble that appears a lot more risky than certain. Post your thoughts down below if you want to read the many reviews that I'm referencing. I'll link them in the description box. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.